Coming up on Two Bid SoCon, we are talking Wofford's dominating win over Furman. Wondering if anyone can beat Samford. We're talking UNCG's rollercoaster week and Chattanooga's usual confusion. All that and more after a word from our sponsor. Two Bid SoCon is brought to you by The Ben Burnett Show. Sports, politics, anything else you're looking for. Weekends on Extra 106.3 in Atlanta or wherever else you get your podcasts. Welcome back, everyone, to Two Bid SoCon after a snow-extended week of SoCon play. We ended up getting games Saturday through Monday, which was a good time. But Jack, Taylor, how are we doing today, guys?
Doing good. Enjoyed the long weekend of basketball. It's always fun. Plus, there's a few on that Thursday, so 4 and 5 days.
Oh, yeah. Yikes. Jack?
Wonderful. Another day, another dollar, man.
So we are day after the historic butt whipping that Wofford put on Furman in Greenville on Monday night. Ended up being pretty ugly. Wofford got ahead pretty early and finished it off 81-62. Taylor, first game you got right that Jack and I did not. How are you feeling?
Unbelievable. Felt like Christmas morning as I tweeted about. I was sitting there the whole time, even when they were up 20, like all nervous. Furman made like a little run to cut to 15, and I was starting to freak out. But then Dylan Bailey came in clutch. 19 clutch points. Felt like anytime Furman had momentum, he'd hit a three off like an offensive rebound by Filowich or something. This just felt like a classic game of you go down early like 20-9, and if you don't make shots, no shot at coming back. Because Furman, 22% from three, 23%, and a few of those were at the very end in garbage time. They just could not hit shots. PJ Smith was off, but Wofford made shots when it counted. Filowich, I think, is the best big in the SoCon right now. Only scoring 9 points with 12 boards, 6 assists, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, so 100%. It was banked in, but still. But yeah, Dylan Bailey, great game. Lorenz had some plays, and Anthony Arrington had some plays. It was just a great all-around game from the team. They shot pretty well, and from the start, they just controlled it wire to wire. And I don't think it's time for Furman to panic yet, but it is kind of like, oh, they're not quite as dominant as we thought they were, and if they're not shooting the ball well from their guards, it might be a little concerning.
So, I'm pretty sure when Furman made their ever so short run is when Tyrese Huey entered the game. And I don't know.
I think you're right.
He changed the energy just a little bit. He had one play. He dove on a loose ball, got everybody clapping and whooping, and then Wofford just got right back to what they were doing, just being super, super physical with Furman out on the perimeter and just kind of allowing Filowich to be the anchor down there in the middle, even if Furman's got Johnston and Bowser, or Johnson and Heen, or Heen and Bowser, whatever two bigs they have in there, they just let Filowich handle it, and he did. Furman shot 33% from the field, 23% from three. It's just everything was difficult for that Furman team last night, and even when it wasn't difficult, they smoked a couple of layups in there that were very, very shocking to me. So, definitely not the outcome I saw happening for that game. But, Jack, any thoughts on that one?
I don't know. I'd more beat myself up for sort of backtracking my Furman thoughts. Not necessarily, but a little bit like I still don't like PJ Smith's been great this year and definitely is like a first team all league player so far, but they're so reliant on him shooting like 40. He's shooting like 45% from three. Like I think he's impressed me a little bit with his creation off the dribble, but he's not even then like I don't know what a great example like Woolbright I guess would be, or like Malachi Smith or Mike Bothwell in the past, like guys that can create off the dribble. I don't know that they have anybody like that. Smith here and there can do it. Anderson is strictly
He's
three balls. And they're so reliant. And granted, if those players play great, they can be great. But they're so reliant on both of those guys shooting 40. Like Smith is shooting. I don't know. I don't have the stats up right now. Smith was shooting like 45% from three the other day. Anderson was shooting like 40, and Anderson's taking like strictly tough shots.
Right.
I don't know how sustainable it is. And then, like I've talked about in the past, they've got a bunch of just not players who aren't on the court for offense that like you said, Huey, Vanderwall, Bowser. I think Heen's been better offensively, and he's kind of been forced to be better offensively because they don't have a whole lot. I just don't know, when you're playing that many guys that are strictly kind of culture, hustle, glue guys that aren't able to really knock down shots or create anything. It's just kind of, it limits you, and I don't know how sustainable what they've done to start conference play is. It's going to be in SoCon play when you're playing guys twice a year and everyone's kind of figuring you out.
Yeah, so they start Anderson, Cooper Bowser, Garrett Heen, PJ Smith, and Ben Vanderwall. So that's
2.5.
That's you're coming out with two and a half threats from outside.
No.
There's just no spacing there.
Yeah.
And like you said, Smith's not that phenomenal at getting to the rim. And creating for others off the bounce. I would think that that's supposed to come from Bronson, or, they wanted it to come from Bronson. And he's just kind of... House is...
Dropped a goose egg last night.
He's weird. Johnston is weird.
He's
Johnston's
closer to that Nick Anderson for me.
Yeah.
Just kind of a catch-and-shoot guy. But, I would say their best dribble, driving, kick guy is Ben Vanderwall. Not even dribbling, but cutting and making something kind of happen offensively outside of just watching a pick and roll.
And the ultimate problem is you can play off him. He can knock down an open three, but even then, you live with him knocking down threes, and he knocks them down too. That's just not his game, or something that Furman probably wants in a possession as a Ben Vanderwall three, even if it's a wide open three is okay. But I don't know. Just kind of questioning him.
So when you have Filowich inside, basically probably guarding two people a good chunk of the time, and you have two other guys outside that are able to play in deep help because they're not guarding a shooter, it allows you to basically blitz any pick and roll you want. And I think that ended up, getting Furman out of their rhythm a little bit last night. Interestingly enough, they only turned the ball over 5 times.
Ooh.
Their rhythm was so disrupted from the beginning. And I think once Wofford grabbed that lead, it was going to be very, very hard for Furman to get it back with how they were playing. So, definitely not the game I saw coming, at least.
I thought Wofford would win, but not like that. I thought it'd be a
20.
5-point win or something.
And they were up 28 at one point,
Yeah.
I think.
It was 80 to 58. Not 8. Something like that.
Yeah.
60 to 36 or something.
Furman's just so reliant on playing great basketball, and that's just not how they're going to be able to. It's just not sustainable to be able to play great basketball all the time. You're going to have a lot of ups and downs, and even Samford, who's the best team in the league, they go through times when they struggle, but they also are able to recover from that because they're defending so well, or they've got guys that can create or knock down. I don't know. It's just kind of. I just think their style of play is just so tough if it's a mucked up physical game. And
I guess if it's Smith and Anderson are playing well, they could beat anyone. But if they're not, they could lose just about anyone. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out coming into conference play. To me, because they got a little exposed last night. Not them as them as a team, not be able to shoot the ball or get in a rhythm. So be curious to see how they bounce back from that going forward.
Which is also kind of where they struggled with UNCG, just with Greensboro kind of dictating the pace. which I think is a good segue into the Samford UNC Greensboro game from Saturday. Samford 76, UNC Greensboro 69. That was an ugly game, I'm not going to lie. And if you told me before that it was an ugly game, that Samford still won, I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be a little intrigued as to how it happened. Taylor, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that was you look at the score, and it does not seem like a Samford game. Typically, it'd be like 95-88 or something crazy, but Trey Fort had a great game. Rylan Jones had a typical Rylan Jones game, and nothing particularly stood out to me. I think UNCG, as good as they are, is due for a loss, and it's impossible to win at Samford. But good to see Atwell still continuing his hot streak, and Giles only at 12 but shot 5 of 10. And this is about what I expected, not score-wise, but like margin-wise. So I don't think anything really stood out in this one other than Samford doesn't lose at home, and UNCG still hung with them, and they'll still get some wins going forward. But I was definitely looking forward to that one, and I was surprised it wasn't more high-scoring. Because even if you look at the numbers, like they didn't shoot the ball particularly bad either side. It was just a good amount of turnovers. I think both at 12, or maybe it was 12 or 11 or something. But it was margin-wise, it was about what I expected.
I mean, Kenyon Giles left that game with 16 minutes left in the second half.
Well, now it looks stupid.
So, I mean, he leaves the game with 16 minutes left. Yeah. They're down 13. And without him, they get it within at least 5. So, I mean, I don't know what changed for them in that. I guess moving the ball around more. I thought Demetrius Davis kind of settled into that game. He was a little erratic to start that one. And I thought, Ronald Polite was not as comfortable as he's looked in every other game that they've played so far this season. So for them to do that without, Atwell having like the Chattanooga game that he had and without Giles at all was pretty impressive to me. But even in that mucked up game, Samford still found a way to get it done. Jack, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, on the UNCG side, I think if Atwell can play kind of like what we expected him to play like this year, like we expected him to take a jump and be one of the, 15 or so best players in the league, like if he can continue, obviously he's not going to play like he played against Chattanooga where he couldn't miss and had 30 or whatever he had. But if he can, I think I tweeted that out, if he can have 15 to 17, through conference play and shoot it decent, like I think he was shooting pretty awful for most of the year. If he can shoot it at, like a 35-40% clip from 3 and, just be efficient, not turn the ball over, they're real, I think. I think Giles is the first team all-league guy for me at this point. Like, I'm so 100%. Impressed by him. He's what a get, first of all. Like, what a job their staff did, because it felt like they had no shot to lose Brown Jones, both the Langley twins. You essentially lost your top 3 guys, and you returned your 2 worst starters, even though Atwell's a good player. Like, to have a role guy in Atwell who looked like he was going to be your best player, and then, turns out you got to just end up finding Giles and Polite and all that. I am impressed with them. Yeah, just in general, like I just think if Atwell can play well, they are real, and I did not expect that at all. And then on the Samford side, I kind of it's starting to get hard to see anyone beating Samford, and not to like it's going to happen. Somebody's going to play really well. It's just the nature of the league. If you went undefeated in this league, you're one of the best teams ever. Yep. But just in general, like the style they play. So hard to explain. I can see every team in the league getting blown out in a game. I cannot see Samford getting blown out in a game ever. Like, it's just, I can see, if you go from the top of I can see UNCG, having a tough shooting night. I can see Chattanooga having an awful turnover defensive night. ETSU is, the picture of that in the dictionary of kind of rough play sometimes, like last year they were. Wofford, we've already seen it throughout the year. I can see all those teams having kind of games like that where it's over. Samford, I just don't. Like, even if they shoot poorly, they're just so constant in the way they play. It's I don't know. Like, I'm not saying they're not going to lose any games, but I see a situation. A team's going to have to play their best game to beat them, and I don't think there's not another team in the league where you have to play your best game to beat them. Mm-hmm. And even then, it might not be enough. I just am starting. The more I watch them, the more I'm like, man, it's just you've got to play your best game, and you've got to kind of control the game too. It's how they play and how talented they are. It's just going to be so hard for me to see them losing in Asheville. I think at this point, and things may change, but I don't know. It's hard for me to explain what I'm thinking, but it's just watching them like. Yeah, the perfect thing is I could never see them getting blown out, and that's the big. And I can see all of 9 other teams. I can totally see that against anyone in the league. So,
did they even get blown out in a game last year?
Purdue.
They went what? Well, other than that, against conference play, I can't recall even last year.
No,
man, even sloppy games.
I think Furman put it to them.
Okay.
Once, I may be making that up, but I know Furman beat them once. I know another time Furman had him beat and totally choked the game.
Yeah.
It was a horrible choke. Like, Marshall got a ton of credit but it was an awful choke by Furman in that game. And credit to Samford. Like, they don't quit, but
it's gonna be hard picking against them at any game this year. Like, I don't know what game we pick where I'll be like, I'm picking against. I mean, I'm sure there's one like
they're
on the road,
they're gonna be favored in every game for the rest of the season.
There's a good shot they might not lose a home game at least. Like, they might go undefeated at home again. I could see that happening.
Kind of a transition here, like UNCG, maybe at UNCG, but maybe the only other team is Chat at home, just because of what we saw from Chat
against VMI
Saturday.
They shoot the ball like that.
Kind of like we've said, like, they are so talented. If they really get hot, they've arguably might be the most talented team in the league. They're just also the most frustratingly team in the league, just defensively and with turnovers. It's all the time. But yeah, it was VMI, but it was super impressive still.
One more thing on Samford before we get on to Chattanooga. Samford opened with the Citadel, Western Carolina, and VMI. And then they just played UNC Greensboro, and they play Mercer Wednesday. After that, they go ETSU, Chattanooga, Wofford, Furman. If they go that stretch without losing, it might be a long time before you see them lose. It might be Asheville if they lose in Asheville. So, I mean, getting those teams, ETSU at home, Wofford at home, if they get through that stretch, it might be a good while before they do lose.
Yeah, someone's going to have an unreal shooting night or be unreal disciplined as a team to not play the way Samford wants you to play, which I don't know if there's a single team, maybe Wofford, that's like senior laden enough to do that, but even Wofford, they're like the most confusing team ever because they've all been there for so long and they still play dumb sometimes. So whatever.
So Samford going to Chattanooga on a Thursday night is probably the best shot for someone to beat them, in my opinion. Especially Chattanooga coming off that VMI game. Honor Huff hits 9 threes or whatever it is. I remember last year after Chattanooga had that VMI get-right game. Granted, that VMI team was a lot worse than this one. But after that game is when Chattanooga just went on a tear. And they started playing their best ball heading into Asheville. Didn't pan out. But that would be my pick for the most likely. If I was going to pick against Samford in a game, that would be the one. I
would agree, because Chattanooga shoots like they did. I don't care. It's VMI. Like, they could beat anyone. No one's beating that. They started the game, like, making their first 10, 11 shots, and, like, I don't know what the final three-point count was, but they were, like, 12 of 15, which is insane. I don't care who you're playing. Still got to attempt those shots. Like, man. And shout out Ryan Lopez for getting that 3 at the end. Gotta love seeing that. But
this may be a dumb thing to harp on, but Ryan Lopez told me he was done for the year.
oh really?
Yeah. And then I see him out
Well, that
there
just makes it more hype.
drilling a 3. I don't know what he's doing. He's in uniform every game. Love the
You're
guy.
talking with Ryan Lopez for.
I worked
Go
with him
boys.
at Chattanooga Golf and Country Club.
Oh wow.
He's a walk-on. Yeah. No NIL money for the boy. Gotta grind.
Justice.
All right, moving on now to UNC Greensboro on the road at Chattanooga, national TV spot, and Ronald Polite hits the game-winning 3 with time expiring to grab that one, giving them the 3-0 start in the conference. That was a fun game to watch, I'm not going to lie. Jack, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, again on UNC, like Giles, he's so good. He hit every tough shot there late. Like it was not just, it was tough twos. He was making tough floaters. Like I'm so impressed with him. And Polite in that game, Polite seemed to hit every single shot they needed him to. Obviously the game winner too. I was confused a little bit with Chat. Like not to nitpick coaching, but I felt like they weirdly went away from Champion, who played well. Like I understood a little bit. I almost thought it was over coaching a little bit. Like they went late game. They took Champion out and brought in Mulholland because
I noticed that too. I was like, the announcer said something about it as well.
yeah, and I saw it too. Like I know what they're trying. The UNCG was every screen that Mulholland set. Like they were leaving him big time to try to kind of help out on the ball screen, and he was wide open for the pick and pop, which I understand. Like you're getting a great, a really good big 3-point shooter, wide open shots. But at the same time, Champion kind of feels like he and Wheeland are the guys you go to, like late game to get buckets. They just can finish tough buckets around the rim. That's nitpicking a little bit. I just kind of felt like that was a little bit overcoaching, going away from him almost to get, a shot you've been getting all game when instead, Champion's one of your 5 best. You got to have him out there.
Champion has become a non-shooter. I don't know why. In the first game, his first game back, he let him fly. I mean, he made one, but it feels
kind of a rhythm
like
guy.
Yeah, I guess so. But it feels like Heenish almost, like he just won't shoot unless shot clock's going down or he absolutely has to. But man, that was the same issue Chattanooga had for the most part with UNC Greensboro last year, in that the 2 guards just got held in check. And this time it was Polite and it was mostly Donovan Atwell guarding Huff and Bonham, just because Giles isn't, the defender that... None of them are the defenders that the Langleys were, but they just, those guys got there. I think Huff had 5 and Bonham had 11, and, neither of them got hot per se, but UNC Greensboro had no problem letting them get their couple of points and then, come back the other way, and Atwell would just run around, somehow end up open every time, and drilled however many threes for 28 points.
And UNCG plays more. They play more disciplined. I feel like that's how they win those games. Like Chat, just they have so many defensively they can frustrate you at times. Feels like you're not getting everything out of guys sometimes. But really, what frustrates me the most watching them, because I know they are so talented, is the turnover. Sometimes it's just kind of unnecessary. Like any of those guys, because any of those guys that start, I guess not Kiesler probably, but those 4 top guys in the, Huff, Bonham, Wheeland, and Champion could all get 20 any night, and that's not like a crazy game for them. And I feel like there's just always a few plays a game from all of them. There's like, all right, I'm going to get a bucket now. Like, and they just kind of go out of the structure of the offense and force something where it's not there, or get in a bad position and just throw it away. It's just those against a team like UNCG that just plays such good defense and plays just smart on offense. That's how they lose those games. That's how they lost that game, and that's how I felt.
Taylor, any thoughts on that one?
Man, Atwell, Giles, and Polite combined 70 points versus the team 8. I forgot the other guys were on the court sometimes felt like every time Chattanooga got momentum, one of those three would hit a big shot, and then I think it was Giles near the end hit three of those bank floaters in a row. That last one just went like, I swear it would have hit the ceiling, just bounced right in. And then even that three at the end, even though it was contested, I just knew that was going in, especially after he hit that shot against, was it Furman he hit the game winner against week before that? Or Wofford, yeah. But yeah, man, that was a three-headed monster. And, Huff, it was good to see him at least get that deep three at the end because he was struggling even with some open looks. And Bash Whelan, though, I know they lost, but 22 points. He's got a nice turnaround mid-range jumper that's become pretty reliable.
He's so consistent.
Yeah, he's been their guy so far, I would say, consistently. And to Jack's point, I was sitting there late in the game wondering where Champion was because he had a few turnovers, but he was 7 for 8 from the floor. Or I'd like to see him in more, but yeah, that game was just the three-headed monster, and that was impressive. And that keeps up. Again, like Jack said, they don't have to shoot like that every game, but Atwell still was 5 of 10 against Samford. Those guys put up 15 a game each. Maybe not each, but consistent numbers. They're going to be hard to beat, and they're going to finish top 3, 4 in the conference for sure. But
yeah,
Chattanooga
on that last shot, like you're talking about, this is Coach Jack here. I just got to say something. It makes me so frustrated. I see it every time. When have you ever seen a game winner? When have you ever seen a game winner where a guy they made a guy turn? When they're bringing up the court and one of those where they got up on him and guard him. No. Never, because they're not in rhythm. You cannot just backpedal the whole way
that drove me crazy, yeah.
The roll up the court, whatever. I don't think that was as big as a deal as it was, but it's the fact this is, Villanova national championship game.
Yep.
The Chris Jenkins shot. If your defense on a last second shot is, let me just keep on backpedaling, they're so in rhythm. That's it's a tough shot still, but it's so much less of a tough shot when you get to, I just think that's bad. And Huff definitely, was a height disadvantage there, getting a contest. Maybe another guy gets, but still, you have to be more aggressive defensively. That frustrates me on a all of basketball level when people are so scared to foul.
Because then,
get up,
even if they end up in
it.
rhythm, somehow it still burns an extra dribble. Most likely,
you have to make the ball turn.
Yeah. So yeah, that was frustrating.
I was so impressed with. I'm gonna assume it was mostly Polite. I think Demetrius Davis took the ball out, but just the presence of mind and the sense of calm he had in that situation, to know that you have the time or the space to roll the ball in and save some time, and then it's a dribble a second from there, unless whatever defender it is makes you turn. He literally had 4 seconds. He took 4 dribbles, got to his spot, and hit another 3. So, that's just that. And that's mostly what willed them to that win, was just the veteran guard presence that has made them as relevant as they are this year going forward. That's what won them that game, in all honesty. And they had Chattanooga had every opportunity to close that one up, and they just left the door open for UNCG. All right. On a short episode this week, we are going to make our game picks for Wednesday night. And adding a new wrinkle to it, we're each going to pick a best bet on the lines for this one using DraftKings here. So if you want to make some money...
free shout-outs.
using insert promoted sportsbook here. But we're going to do our best Dr. Socon impression, Dr. Socon Locks impression.
Don't shout him out, bro. Do not shout
I love that dude, man. He's awesome.
You can't be a burner and get a shout-out. Good follow, but you can't get a shout-out.
Absolutely can. All right, first game. Samford on the road in Macon, Georgia. -6 at Mercer. How are we feeling on this one?
Give me Samford. And I just think coming off a loss to Western, I just don't have any – no face, not the right answer, but I just think they don't have any chance against Samford. Even with playing not their best basketball against Greensboro, they still won by 7. And I just don't think this is the first game Samford drops. They're playing too good of ball right now, and Mercer's been a little up and down. I can see Mercer maybe making it interesting, but I just don't think they pull it off.
So you're taking Samford and the points.
Yes.
Jack?
Yeah, same. That's a pretty easy one. 5.5's not enough.
Yeah.
Did you say 5.5?
Yeah,
or
no.
6.5?
I'm
That's not
surprised
enough.
that line
I'm a little
is-
surprised too.
Now,
I'm
if we
very
get
surprised.
Mercer that played Chattanooga a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
maybe they can cover that. But no,
I
5.5.
don't see that happen.
I don't think they would do that against
Best-
Samford.
Jack Gold, certified best bet right there. Not even have to
Samford
see the other
minus
games.
6.
Yeah, that's
All
easy.
right. We've got one best bet. We're moving on now to the Citadel on the road at UNC Greensboro. Got to state this. This is an impact on this game. Coach Randy Phillips out for this one. Suspended by the league and UNC Greensboro.
No.
Guys.
What do you do wrong?
Guys, he's the
League
heart
is
and soul of
soft.
this team. He's the heart and soul of this team. If you've ever
They
seen
need
a
his energy.
UNCG game live, he's so loud. He's what gets them going. For those,
I can tell.
For those that don't know, there's a video circulating of UNCG at Samford this past weekend. And Coach Phillips is having an interaction with a fan. I hope that's of a certain age. And he told them quite nicely to hold them. If you've seen the
Those
video,
nuts.
there it is.
We can say it. We can say it on this podcast. Yeah.
And he indeed held the nuts as well.
He did Reggie Miller style.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's an insane way to.
And then for the camera to pan, and it's just
As the
I saw
camera-
mostly kids.
As the camera conveniently pans to like a 3-year-old child in the front row.
You told a
Look.
3-year-old.
Look, everyone can have their opinion on Randy Phillips. I didn't think it was that bad. Come on.
This
It
I'll
it
have
takes
a-
a
I'll
little
have a
bit
The
more.
professional
league is
take.
soft.
It takes
Let
a
me have
little more
professional
than.
take here.
Let me have an unprofessional take here.
Okay, go.
It takes a little more than "Let's go Bulldogs" or "UNCG stinks" to get that kind of reaction out of a coach. I think somebody said
No.
something, and was he in the right? No, but it's not like the 3-year-old baby was like, "I hate UNCG," and he like, did that directly at him. So I mean, I don't know. Come on, let that one slide. It's not that deep.
Let me be no fun, pro discipline take right here, because yes, very funny. Like that's an insane thing to happen. That's like such a mid-major assistant thing to happen. But it's not even that. It's just such a like. But also, dude, you made it on staff as a Division I basketball coach. Like that is a very hard thing to do. You're getting a full-time job. What are you doing? Turning around and doing that to anyone ever. I don't care. This could be a scrimmage, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's what I'm saying. That is crazy. And
And you had to know something
honestly-
happened either.
Honestly, the video didn't blow up that much, but like, so I can kind of understand one game, but it's probably not enough on a professional level. Like, you cannot turn around and tell some fans at a private school to hold your nuts, dude. Like that's a gesture, like full Marshawn Lynch style to him. Like that's insane.
I wish I saw that
By the
live.
way. That's an insane.
Imagine
like,
being in the crowd for that.
I could play pickup against my buddies, and I probably wouldn't do that to them. This guy, yeah, that's
New
hilarious that it happened. It's very funny, but
New
unreal
goal.
that that went through his mind in the middle of the game.
I'm gonna sit behind the UNCG bench in Asheville and try to elicit the
Just
same
chirp 'em?
reaction.
Yeah.
I need to know where the line was of what was said to get that out of a D1 basketball coach.
Probably
Yeah,
nothing that special.
It felt like everybody had their own Randy Phillips story after that one, and I don't know.
Yeah, people were saying they have a history of this or something. UNCG staff.
I think
Like,
some people are soft.
that's
With
what I thought too. Cause
That being said, the Citadel is plus 17 on the road at UNC Greensboro.
Sheesh.
Look, before Coach Phillips got suspended, the line was 20. Just saying.
was it actually?
No.
Okay, I was like, no way it makes that big a difference.
You're
Just
so
saying.
gullible.
I know, but why did I believe that? The Lions just came out.
Immediately thought that was real.
Yo, really? So,
Really?
I'm taking the
They don't
Citadel
pay that
plus
much,
17. I'm taking them with the points. I'm taking Greensboro to win the game. But 17's a lot of points. A lot of points.
You know what's crazy? I'm taking my best bet that UNCG covers that 17 points. I think they blow them out of the water. Win by like 23. They played too good a basketball, and the Citadel has been very disappointing.
You did not just take the 17 point.
I took it. I took it, and I'm standing by it.
With no Randy Phillips. What are you doing?
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, all right.
Randy Phillips doesn't make Atwell knock down those shots.
Yeah, I'm taking same as Matt. I'm taking UNCG, but I'd probably say Citadel points. It's tough to. I don't know if it was Samford, maybe just because their offense, but I don't feel like UNCG's offense is a win by 17 offense.
Man, 17's a lot of points.
Yeah,
I don't care.
especially
It's gonna be like
Citadel
81-60.
competes. They're not a team that lays down. Anyway,
That's your
Don't
best
overthink it.
bet,
Don't
Taylor.
overthink it. I chose it. Don't overthink it. I chose it. I'm sticking with
no,
it.
you can't change it.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm
No,
saying.
You
Yours.
stamped it.
Yeah.
You actually stamped
You're right.
it.
You know what? I did. They're 5-10. They're getting ran.
All right, Western Carolina on the road at VMI. 3.5 point dogs to the Cadets. I've got VMI here. And I've
I
got the
probably do
points.
too.
And I've got the points.
And if VMI loses, I'm never betting on them or picking them again. This is the second time.
VMI, I'm going to take Western Carolina points, and this game is going to set basketball back 30 years.
I do agree with you on that one.
It's gonna be some bad
I'm taking
basketball.
VMI's points too.
Tweet at me if you're watching it. Tweet at me if you're watching it, and I'll say prayers.
A 5 p.m. slot too.
If you
Actually, I
like,
may call some sort. There's got to be some sort of helpline if you're watching it.
if you like Jack's take, over under is 147.5. That feels like a lot of points.
Yeah, it does. But what is that?
It feels like a lot of points for this
VMI
team,
can't
for
guard
these
too,
teams.
though, so
This is true.
I will say that.
All right. Moving on. ETSU 3-point dogs on the road at Furman. And this is going to be my best bet here. ETSU to win the game outright on the road, +3.
I would agree. I think they match up with Furman very well.
You already used your best bet, Jack.
Well, yeah.
No, I just thought I was going to cook, saying I was going to pick ETSU, but both of you bums took them too.
You
So
can
now we're
still
gonna look
act.
real
You'd
stupid.
still pick them.
We're going to look real stupid when all three of us are picking ETSU, and
And
they go
Furman.
out here and Furman wins by 20 at home. Like,
It's already happened a
Furman-
couple times.
Furman just burned me. I don't know.
yeah,
Furman is not playing its best basketball right now.
I don't know. If you compare starting fives, I think ETSU just matches up so much better, or so well with them.
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick
Yeah.
with it. I got ETSU and ETSU points.
Same.
I think ETSU points is a good bet. I think it's gonna be a close game regardless.
These anti-Furman comments are brought to you by the Ben Burnett Show, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out Ben. Moving on. Last game.
I hate that we
Best
did
game.
that, by the way. I hate that we did that.
Did what?
Just all bet against Furman for no reason.
No.
I just don't think that's a good, like,
I
I don't
don't-
feel that strongly, but I thought this
Man.
was a good, I thought I was going to be being different here.
I thought the
Like,
same thing too.
Yeah,
Take ETSU.
that's who I'm taking. I'm
Or
just saying
take
we
Furman
all
if
three-
you want to be different.
No, that's how I feel, but I just didn't think that was like a common take.
Man, they're gonna come for our heads if Furman wins this.
Yeah.
Nah. What are you going
F
to
you
do?
hoops leaks.
Don't do that. All right. Last game. Best game.
Oof.
Wofford on the road at Chattanooga. 3.5 point spread in Chattanooga's favor. Jack, I'll let you go first if you got a steaming
Give me-
take.
Give me the Mocs. Give me the Mocs to cover too. 3.5s. I think they'll win by that. I don't know. I think both of the teams are equally frustrating, and Chattanooga's at home and probably slightly more talented. So I could see any outcome with this game. Like I could see Chattanooga blowing them out. I could see Wofford blowing Chattanooga out. But I'm going to take Chattanooga and take the points.
I would have to say the same thing. This game has lived rent free in my head since 1 p.m. today, trying to decide who's going to win, and I just got to go with Chat being at home. I think they'll pull it out, and I think after their shooting performance against VMI, they'll go with more confidence. Although Wofford just killed Furman, so no, I got to go with Chat, I guess.
Sounds like it's still living rent free in your head.
No,
yeah,
but
I'm just thinking about you at work. At work,
I know. I was sitting there at work, walking around like,
pick.
I guess I got to go with the home.
What are you doing?
Missing
Wofford, Chattanooga. I don't know.
I guess I got to go with the home team here. Since Chat's at home, and I'll take their points too. I guess it's their favorite. What's the line? 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. All right. Give me Chat.
So now that I'm looking at it, if you want to make some guaranteed money, bet the under in the VMI Western Carolina game because it's the same line for Wofford Chattanooga.
Ooh, that is easy money.
147.5. Just saying. Good offensive basketball, 147.5. Bad offensive basketball, 147.5. Makes a lot of sense to me. I'm going to go Wofford. I'm going to take Wofford on the road. Just to be different. Just so I don't make a graphic that has us all picking the same teams again. This team's playing good basketball right now. I think any rivalry win on the road will give you a big boost of confidence. So give me Kyler Filowich, game-winning skyhook. But I'll take Wofford on the road, even though I know that's going to come back to haunt me on Twitter, but I'll live with it. And that is it for this week on 2-Bid SoCon. Sorry we had to delay this episode a while. The snow delayed the entire league, so we will be back hopefully Saturday night with another episode. Anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Follow us, yell at us on Twitter, whatever your heart desires, and we'll see you guys next week.